Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video we're going to have a flip through some books that I've ordered. My order has come from Can Do Books, an Australian company, online booksellers. I guess if you get the list of titles and one of them catches your eye, just shop around. You might find someone that you can order from that is a good price. You need to take, of course, into account freight, but these books are on many sites. I've just been perusing Can Do Books a little bit lately. Now, Susanna from Vintage Blend Studio, she showed one of these. I think it was this one a week or so ago, and that's where I got enabled. Thanks, Susanna. Good on ya. So I went for a little look. I've had a few in my shopping cart for a while. If I see a title that catches my eye, I tend to either pop it on my book list, which is in my phone, and then when sales come on, or I've sort of got a few together to save the postage, I'm ready to order. So I always have I wouldn't mind owning that book list. Okay. Now, these two from the same author, and I believe there's one more in the series that was out of stock, so I've still got to track that one. The A Trip Around the Wool. A Trip Around the Wool continues, and I can't quite remember the third one. It's something about the trip around the wool again. It's a bit of a play on the words. So let's just pop these aside and have a little look. Now, the reason this sort of clinched the deal to go and do an order was Susanna from Vintage Blend Studios has been doing a series. Look at all my bits and pieces everywhere of threads, where we explore vintage sewing techniques, the old style techniques that we no longer do as much, and we're sort of having a little play with them again. Now, the next one coming up is wool embroidery, and she showcased this book, so I thought, that's something that might be inspiring. So I thought I'll order it, and then when I got online I found there was actually three, two of which I've actually got here. So I'm just going to have a little flip through. So she's obviously a French artist. Oh, look at all those yummies. I've been collecting a little bit of wool when I see it, just little packs of it. Very muted tones, very dark browns and ambers and things like that. So it'll work in beautifully with my current journal. Look, a lot of suits, clothing. That's a great source of wool. It's just tricky to find 100% wool. A lot of them have a synthetic blend to them, a mix to them, especially in Australia. We just don't get cold enough to have op shops full of beautiful woolen products, but we will survive. So embroidering into it. Oh, she's a very clever girl, this one. Look at that. I love how she pieces together random backgrounds and then puts a theme over it. These branches of flowers, and she's cut that away to expose the piece underneath. Now that's clever. I remember doing something like that with the Anne Brooks challenge, the 52 tags. We had layers and layers, and we cut it away. That gives me a bit of an idea. So I've got a page to do in the vintage sewing techniques for the month of October, and a cutaway would be fun. Okay, pencil that down as a maybe. Look at that. How clever. So she says piece layers and layers and layers, and then cut into it, and then also embroidered on top of it. What stitch did she use for the little leaves? Oh, Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful piece. Oh, that'd be so warm. I can just see the warmth in that, and then some flowers to brighten. That's a pretty leaf. You stitch your main stem of your leaf. Well, the shine is on that. Stitch your main leaf and then use another textured wool to get you those pretty little ends outlining and colouring in your leaves and your flowers. Isn't that pretty? Just drizzling down the shoulders, keeping it quite fine at the top. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Just would not get the use here in this climate. Those flowers, aren't they pretty? Just whimsical, soft. It's like the wool is so dense and thick that you can do such fine, delicate work on it, and it all works. Oh, I love those colours together. Yeah, see, you conjure up the old wood fire. We just don't have those in Queensland. Well, people do, but I wonder if that's the bird that caught Susanna's eye. That's clever, with the little stitches around the outside of the flower like that. That's very pretty. Yeah, I think there's a little bird in one of the books that caught Susanna's eye for her page. She was thinking of doing. Children. Oh, how clever. So if you've got pictures that kids have drawn, pop them onto your work. Oh, how clever. Like, you just beautiful. What a gorgeous blanket to have that, little memories like that stitched all over your blanket. She must have a baby. This stick figure here is holding a little baby. Oh, is that another great idea? Oh, it is funny. They'd make you giggle every time you pick up your blanket. You'd be looking at these little sketches the kids have made. Just gorgeous. What's this one? Oh yeah, a needle book using offcuts of wool. What's this one all about? Oh, so beautiful. I'm not going to fall down the rabbit hole of buying wool pieces because, where does it stop? A girl has to try and skim across a lot of categories, not just deep dive into it. I'll never ever use the supplies that I've currently got. Isn't that clever, having the shape within the image? Oh, love that. Textured tree, little birds. I really enjoy doing florals like that. Trees, branches, leaves coming off, then add the bird, then I get a real buzz out of that type of embroidery. Little owls. I'd say my wool piece will be something along the lines of a branch coming up onto it, and then maybe different types of leaves and create some texture that way. Thinking along that way. And I really like the way that this is cut out as well, so you can have colours in behind that can be exposed. So it's getting that third, and then some embroidery, then some three-dimensional leaves. as well. I think that's quite interesting. This was on the front cover. This is pretty. I love that. Here it is there. I love her leaves. Look at those. Aren't they different? That's a great little design. Little bird. Oh, some yummies in this. There's just not enough time in the day. See, they really get into the wools. The thicker wools. I guess it'll hold its own on a wool fabric background too, having yarns of wool come into your embroidery. Oh, I love it on the red, just that splash of red through. So dramatic. Oh, lady beetles. Yeah, I love a random branch. It's probably one of my favourite things to embroider. Just a random nature. It's just so yummy. Very good book. So here's number 2. I'm just not sure what order they came out with in printing, but we've got some patterns. So along a similar style. That's got a bit of a crazy patchwork feel about it. Look at that. Oh, you beautiful thing. 3-dimensional. And then the embroidery on the leaves. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. Let me just put a bookmark there. Here we go. Bookmarks mean trouble, means another project, doesn't it? Oh, my goodness. What have you done, Susanna? I love that idea. And let's go back to this cutout one. I probably won't get to pick this up again for a week or so. I'm actually not sure when this video will come out. That's enough. If I bookmark any more, it just gets too crazy in the brain. Ah, look at that. I've just picked up a ball of that wool. And I thought, what would I ever use it for? Let me grab it and show you. Hang on. This was at the op shop and I was drawn to it. I don't know why. I just saw it and thought, oh, you've got to come home with me. I've seen them for years in, you know, yarn stores. And that's what's been stitched into that. Isn't that pretty? It gives you instant texture. And then add your leaves and then stitch into your leaves. Oh, clever, clever. Anyway, moving along. I'll be here all day. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That cushion. Look at that. That should have been on the front cover. That's beautiful. No, a little bird getting details added to him with the wool. And that's pretty good. She's only just stitched the beak and the wing and just let the outline happen. So it's very nice. Just a little hint. And there's all the little birds. This is a great book, guys. Considering that there's some templates in there you can use as well. Like, I love a good project book. just get you started. See, that's pretty. And even just the little outline, like just a tiny, there we go. Here comes another little doobie-dacky. A journal cover, birds on a branch. I think Susanna and I are both going to have birds on branches. Good old log cabin, but crazy style. Loving the revisit of the log cabin without it being so formal. And then embroider onto it. Oh, clever, clever. I love that. Look at the texture in there. Yum. Cut flowers out of blankets. I'll have to keep my eyes open for small packs of wool morsels because, you know, you don't need a whole bloomin' blanket. Look at that. Stitch it elsewhere, then cut it out. Then you get that nice raggy looking messy edge. Then attach it to your work. Something to consider too for variations on leaves. If I do the branch with different, you know, leaves, that'd be a good way of getting some. Oh, her composition is beautiful. Oh, look at that. Go back through with a finer thread to add the detail to that big stab stitch. Boy, oh boy. That's the front cover, is it? Yeah. Where's the big branch? Yeah, that is that wool. And then she's put little wispy stitches off of it. Oh, boy. The detail. Within the detail. Oh, I better put a post-it note there too. That's why these little fabric journals we've all been doing are fantastic for trying little ideas. So if you ever did want to do a bigger piece, you can flip through your journals and you might just pick out one little detail and then it carries on to your next stitchery. Outlining skeleton, clever, inspiration everywhere. I love the layered leaf look. Old pieces of embroidery. Oh gosh, could you imagine her fabric collection? How yummy it'd be. Oh, look at that. There's a English paper piecing made in wool. Even that jacket with that embroidery coming out of the pocket. Let me just get rid of the glare. Let me bring that up to the camera. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And peeking over the shoulder. Clever, clever. These are those hexagons that you make them in their entirety so they're fully finished. You put two on top of the other, one slightly bigger, and then you turn it in and then stitch it all down, and it's you know, quilted as you go hexagon, I think they call them. Then go and embroider over them, then join them together. My goodness. Oh, the work. Seriously, you look into that purple one. Now look into the one below. Like, the work in those leaves are very good on that. Oh. I guess it would stitch together fast because it's chunky, but still. Oh my goodness. Gee, there's some work there. 52 of them. That's a very nice satchel. Simple, effective. Ah, there's the jacket. What a gorgeous stitch. Clever lady, this one. You could just picture a cottage-style house with the wood fire going, and then all of this beautiful embroidery on all of the old scrappy bits of blankets, and just conjuring up the scene now as I look out to the bright blue sky and the bright light, the sunshine beaming in. This is just seems like a world away, absolute world away. But there's no reason why you couldn't adapt it to the colour schemes that suit your environment. But it is nice to dip a toe into a whole nother world. Beautiful books, guys. Those two for sure would be worth having in your library. Now, these here I don't know much about. Book 4 and Book 8, part of an obviously a Wow book series. So it looks like we're going to get numerous artists. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, so it does look like it's numerous artists featured. Oh, wow. Oh, goodness me. How clever. So there's a little bit of everything in this. Mixed media. Oh, and it shows you some techniques. That's good. So you're not only seeing this amazing artwork, you're actually getting a hint at how they actually put it all together. Oh, boy, they're clever. Etching press method. Oh, don't even go there, girl. Oh, my goodness me. Like I said, there's just not enough time in the day. Oh, and they're generous. Look, they've given you a design that you can work with and step by step. Oh, these are good. These are projects as well. And it's a bit of everything, because you just never know. You head down a rabbit hole, unfolding story. Gee, that's pretty. Oh, look at that. Looks like you're literally going through the woodlands. It's all done on a sewing machine and paint. This looks like, oh no, I thought it was Anne Kelly. Gosh. Oh, look. I've all got one of those kicking around in the cupboard. Anne Kelly, there we go. Anne's really good at transforming things, like takes old and turns it into something usable. Love how she works with old maps and densely stitched, and she's a clever girl too. One of my books in my pile is Anne Kelly. I like the freedom that she shows in her book, Sue Brown. Gee, that's clever too. The fence post with the little birds on it, and then the big bird at the bottom who's nibbling away. Oh, she's very good. Look at that. Okay, so these are very interesting. I would probably look at getting more of these. And I like how they've listed some of the major artists in the next, or some other workbooks. So if there's a particular artist you like, you'll find them in the future books. Oh, that's so good. Using inks. Oh, look at the leading your eye down the path to the light at the end there. Very clever. Gosh, some work in that. Who have I got here? Anne Kelly again. Here she is. I don't think my work would ever be as free as Anne's. Like, I'm a little bit too, what's the word? See, look at the little house. I love it. It's all wonky and I love it. But I don't know if I'd ever be able to produce that because it's all wonky, and my eye would be wanting to straighten walls, straighten rooftops. Everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone does, you just do you. I think that's the most important thing. Just do you. And if you love it, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter. Oh, look at that. Oh, all that little detail. Just, gosh. I love the closure. That's those clips, a garter that would come down and hold your stockings up. Beautiful. Real old. So that's how she's painted fabrics, cut them out, layered them, and then stitched. Gone onto her sewing machine and stitched. Just so beautiful. Clever. Clever. How many times did I say clever? These folks are clever. Oh, look at that. Oh, my goodness. It's hard enough to do something like that, let alone that. Wow. Wow, wow. That's beautiful. Okay, that's those ones. Now, these two little books are magazines, Australian Magazine of Textiles, which I was very excited when I saw that. I thought, oh, how lovely to see some Aussies in these. So I've got issue 53 and 50. So let's have a look at Embellish. See who's around. Oh, wow. I've got to get out more. Oh, wow. These are good because now you get to see some businesses that are around town or some events. The Embroiderers Guild of Victoria. That's three-dimensional work. Oh, who is this? New Zealand lady, Danish immigrant. Oh, them were the days. Ink and salt. Yeah, salt's funny when you put it in amongst your paints and watercolours. It does some crazy things. It makes the paint move. You get all these beautiful different textures just by putting salt through your work. little blotches of salt, gets that. This is handy because if you did want to play with salt, you can sort of see if you laid your salt on your work, you'd get those sorts of lines. This is quite good. A lot of information in this book. Oh gosh. Boro stitch on cloth. Oh, this is a business in New South Wales. Oh, wow. So this girl, look at that. That's inside the business and she's making fabrics. Indigo dyed. Oh, what a great business that is. Scandinavian bird. I love the little stitch around his detail on his tail. That's done on a sewing machine. So we've got a bit of a Scandinavian thing here. Tasmanian Quilters Guild. Oh, you're a good looking chap. Oh, beautiful. Who are you? Oh yes, some more of the books. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, I don't know. These exhibitions where the artwork is a red piece of fabric laying on the floor. Like, you just have to have a look around my craft room. There's bits of fabric lying on the floor. Is that art? I don't know about that. It looks like someone who needs to tidy up a little. There's fabric wishing through the air and there's hands and feet at the end of it. Don't want to talk ill of any other artist. So we'll move her along. Oh, clever, clever, clever. Layers upon layers of texture. Look at you. These are interesting little magazines. Now, these were only like $10 and $6.50. So really, really good price for a quick flip through. If you're an Aussie girl and you want to see some things that are out and about around us. That's beautiful. Just beautiful. Oh, Petri dishes stitched with black. Sorry about the glare, guys. They're meant to be Petri dishes. All stitched with beads, black beads. Oh, boy, that'd be so hard to stitch with your eyesight. Who are these girls? Queensland Logan Art Gallery. Oh, they're local. Local ladies. Upcycling. Well, hello, ladies. They're just down the road from me. I'm using ink and wax. Batik. I remember doing batik at school. Scrappy hats. Using up your bits. Your orts. Oh, I've just started an orts jar, but I'm keeping only lengths that I can just pull out and stitch with, thanks to Jennifer Coulston's prompting of, you know, having just randomness in your stitching and not thinking too much about, you know, your composition. Well, your composition's not the word, your colour palette, and just letting your favourite colours, which are usually in your orts, just come together in a piece. Really like that idea. Now we've got to sort your orts by colour. I don't think so, for goodness sakes. I don't get a lot of orts. I sort of make my choice of thread and then use it until it runs out. So I'm finding my orts jar, I think I've got 7 pieces in there. Yes, I'm counting my orts jar pieces. I just don't have a lot of, you know, I was looking at it the other day thinking it was such a poor attempt at an orts jar. Do I just get a couple skeins of thread and chop them up and chuck them in. So now I'm considering cheating on my orts jar. Isn't that hilarious? Oh boy, oh boy. Look at you. Oh, look at these. I've been watching these around the place for some time. I just think they're just beautiful. That sculpture. If I ever saw a course, I would go and do that, because I'd love to know how they do all that pleating to get underneath the caps. They're so beautiful. But you know what makes it is these gorgeous little containers that they're sitting in, and then they're sitting on the old books. Like, it's all, you know. Oh, hello. Who are you? So a Yorkshire, UK-based textile artist. Oh, he is just magical. Look at all the embroidery up his arm. Flowers on him. I love his whiskers. Oh, beautiful. An Italian. So it's not all Aussies. There's a lot of Aussies, but... Oh, hello, Mr. Pelican. Gosh, it even looks like there's water dripping. Little droplets of water on him. Gosh, some people are bloomin' clever. Look at that. That's all wool. Wool felted, you know, where they lay down the textures of the wool and then use needles to push it in. Oh boy, oh boy. That would take hours. Look at the little birds. Okay, so that's how that came to be. Just layers upon layers of scraps and then all stitched. Gorgeous. Can Do Books, that's where I got these books from. Australian website. Well, that's very interesting. There's some other books that we don't know about. Look at the chickens, guinea fowls. My last one, Anne Kelly. Oh, and I love this range of books. It's got texture on the cover. I'm doing the Fleur Woods course, as you all know, Joyful Embroidery, and Fleur's just produced her first book. And I noticed in one of her videos that she was feeling the cover, and I got the feeling that it's a textured cover. I might be wrong, but I have a feeling it's a textured cover like this. So I wonder if it's the same publisher that's doing one for Fleur. Can't wait to see it. I've pre-ordered my copy through Booktopia. You can order through the publisher itself on Fleur's site. So another way of tracking down Fleur's book if you are so inclined to add it to your collection. Wow. So it must be zigzag. I'm just thinking, I'm just looking at that's the first time I've seen a good close-up of the texture that she gets over her work. And I was wondering how she did it, but I always thought it was on a sewing machine. That to me looks like it's by hand. Oh my goodness. Man, you're amazing. Look at all the stitch. So this focuses on people and places. Not that I'm going to get into stitching people, famous people by the looks of it. There she is in her studio. That's a self-portrait. I just wanted to, I don't know, absorb the looseness of the way she creates her images. I think I mentioned that just before. She's got a real fluidness to her style. I just think it's beautiful. Oh, look, mother and child. Oh, holidays. Oh, this is... So these are... Okay, these are all different. They're not all Fleur Woods. but it's all fleurs bought together. Fleur woods. Oh my goodness. Anne Kelly. I'm getting my artists mixed up. There's a video I did the other day and I was thinking about Anne Woods and I don't know, I put some other name. Oh, terrible. Terrible. I'm just so caught up in the imagery that I can't even say my words. Look at that. I love how she adds then her embroidery to pieces of furniture. You know, like, oh, next level. If you've got some embroidery that's sitting in the cupboard that you've done, some slow stitch, pull it out and stick it on something. Stick it on some furniture, like so you can see it. It's just so brave. I'm sure my husband would appreciate if I started gluing my stitching to different random pieces of furniture around the house. Look at that. Is that Adam and Eve? Or just women? Seems to be focused on the womb. The little holes in the fabric, and then she's stitched around it. Oh my goodness me. Oh, I love that. I'd love to do some work on some clothing, like a denim jacket or something. I'd love to do something like that. Once again, it doesn't get cold enough to wear enough jackets, so I do it and it just would hang in the cupboard for the next 10 years. I'm packing at the moment, as you know, to move house. It's a slow move. It's going to be over a few months, but I'm in the cupboard where you put your winter jackets. And I swear those jackets have been hanging in that cupboard for 9 years. And they're not going to get worn. I'm heading further north, so it's even hotter. So I was standing there looking at it and thinking, I need a cupboard just to hold these jackets. And then I started looking at the texture, so I'm feeling all of the leathers and the wools and the suedes, and I'm like, oh, I could just cut a little piece out of this jacket. But then, you know, one day we might be able to do some travelling and we'll head up into those colder climates of Europe and we would appreciate that. But meanwhile, it's going to hang for another, aren't they gorgeous? It's going to hang for another 9 years in that one cupboard down the hallway. So whimsical. So that's like an old piece of embroidery around the collar. Look at the French knots in that little dress. My goodness. Gee, you could have some fun with that image. Those little Russian dolls that interconnect. Okay, moving along. Oh, I'm really enjoying doing Honey Bear's dress. I'm really, really enjoying that. My poor mannequin for the Roxy Creations Journal of Stitchery Treasure Hunt project. I've got the mannequin going and I've got a little dress for my dolly, my teddy, and we're just each fortnight getting a prompt and, you know, adding it to him. And I just keep going back to the dress. I'm just not doing much on the mannequin. It's that little dress is just becoming such a treasure. It's funny how projects do that to you. Look at the stitches in that. There's Anne again. See, an old suitcase. And then put the work on the suitcase. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be here all day. Gosh, nearly an hour. Sorry, guys, but I'm sure if you were considering buying some books, at least now you can see what's in them and whether they fit your collection. I see that's another thing. Black and white photos embroidered. And you put some little flowers and... Huh. That comes out of a book. You hang the book and then the stitching comes out of it. Storytelling. Oh, look at that. Look chair. Oh my goodness. You wouldn't want to sit on it. There's these beautiful chairs at the moment at a furniture shop here in Australia. I think it's Eureka or Early Settler, one of those. And they've got embroidery all over them. Oh my goodness, I'm so tempted. But they're like $1,000 a chair. And I did notice the one that was at the front door of the shop that everyone's sitting on, the wool that they've used to embroider onto the fabric is starting to look pilly. Now, it's probably had 100 sitters on it, but still, it'd be a shame to have your chair and want to make that your chair that you do stitching in of a morning. You might do 15 minutes of stitching like we're doing with Jennifer Coulston on her channel. And you go and sit in that chair just for 15 minutes to do a bit of embroidery on an embroidered fabric, and it starts looking all pilly. Aren't they gorgeous? You know, that's be quite disappointing. Look at those little birds. I love that. Nothing like little stitched birds. Oh. Ah, this lady, this is where I got my hair from that I stitched, Timothy. And I embellished with beads and lace, and she's from South Africa. She is very clever too. I really like her work. Oh, whose studio is this? This it looks like Anne Kelly. You just want to... Oh, look at the doll's house. Oh, my goodness. Embroidery used to embellish a doll's house. My brain's just gone. Lights on. I do not need a doll's house. That's it. That's it. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I hope there's something there that inspires you. Certainly has inspired me. So, yeah, I feel like I've got a little bit more of an idea of wool embroidery now. So thanks, Susanna, for showing us, I think it was this book. And there you go, Susanna. I think you need that one in your collection too. Okay, guys, I will leave it at that. I hope you have a lovely day. I need to go and pick up a needle and thread and just do something. So I'm off to have a little play. Look after yourselves and have a lovely day. Bye.